What is going on today, ladies and gentlemen? It is a special late night edition. This is Weekend Rewind number 12. I am your host today, as always, the Black Lantern, Brooklyn Vail. Joining you on I believe it was a mild day. I was outside today for lunch to grab groceries and stuff, and it was okay. Like, the ground is really soft, so it makes our driveway like a little nightmare. But we have a good panel today. It was supposed to be an NWO themed one, but due to some scheduling, we had to get the leader. So we got some great representation of various factions to hop in. And I want to start off today with, of course, the leader of the NWO, the big booty daddy. He is the villain, Haven Pendergast. Haven, how are we doing?
I'm doing fantastic, brother. I'm happy to be here. Excited for tonight. It's going to be a big. I think it's going to be a big, fun evening for us.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting. Joining us today for, I believe it's his first time, or he might have been on before, the Hobbit. He's going up for the IG title very soon. Robert Parker, how are we doing, man?
I'm great. And yeah, it is my first time on the Rewind. I'm really excited to be here for sure. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Good to see you. And, of course, you've seen him multiple times before. You've seen him a lot on Jukebox for good reasons. He is going up against Chance for the Jukebox Trivia Championship. He is right there. Okay, I never asked this before. What is your preferred pronoun?
They, them, they.
They? Okay. So they are the Butcher, Luca, Hope, Val, Madden. How we doing?
Fucking, I cannot believe you calling it a late night show at 8 p.m. It's 1 in
it's
the morning.
9. It's 9 here.
It's 7 here.
It's 1 a.m. Fuck.
If it I was thinking about this earlier this week. In a perfect world, this show starts at like 9 a.m. my time. I would love to have a Saturday morning show just to cover this stuff. But yeah, also joining us today, he's going to be hopping in a little bit later. He's just running a little behind. Kale Mashed Potatoes. He's going to be talking about. He's going to be previewing the Game of Factions match with us, as well as going over the Arrowverse match. It's going to be happening tomorrow, so that's going to be pretty exciting.
By the way, the Butcher this evening is sponsored by Diet Coke.
By Diet Coke.
Well, guys, I just got off the phone. The brand deal is on, so that's awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. Good to see. Good to see. All right, guys. So for those of you
Apocalypse is a corporate shill.
So for those of you who are new to the show, first of all, welcome to Jack of All Trivia. Good to see you here. And how this show works is that we covered the week that was Jack of All Trivia. We have 6 matches to talk about today, which are very exciting, and then we have like a match and a half to cover on the showdown. There is a very, very big one to talk about that happened on Friday, but we're gonna like kind of hint at that as we're gonna give people a little more time to process that. So let's go into Monday with Jukebox Mondays. We had a little.
Robert.
His audio. He just messaged me. His audio stuff is being wonky, so he's gonna hop back in whenever he can. So yeah, we had a little like off-season match, like an exhibition, a music debate, if you would, a dance-off, where we had Caleb Coho taking on the vicious trial of Jess Morgan. And what was a very interesting first time. I never got to be part of these debate shows. So I want to go to Luca first. Now that you've had the time to process the whole show, and I mean, you were once a contender for the Movie Battlegrounds Championship over Worldwide Movie Games. So what were your thoughts on the music debate?
I think that both competitors suffered because it was a debuting format, and because it wasn't something that anyone has a lot of experience in yet in this particular area. I think people kind of got a little bit caught off guard for bits of it, weren't necessarily as prepared as they could have wanted to be, especially Jess, which to her credit, she ended up winning the match.
Oh, yeah.
She had like 2 hours to prepare. But I thought it was a lot of fun. It's nice to see people get passionate about things, and Caleb especially gets very, very passionate about things. I thought it was fun. I wouldn't necessarily think that it would be something that we would necessarily do regularly as a Jukebox family. I don't think it's as self-sustainable as like a movie debate thing would be. But it would be a very fun thing. It's like a one-off every so often type.
Yeah, for sure. Like my intention of when I was like coming up with the schedule, I wanted something in between seasons, just to kind of have as a palate cleanser to kind of be more like a brighter, more entertaining show. And I thought that would be kind of a cool thing, because people are very opinionated in music. I mean, even you and I think Bare Naked Ladies is awesome. You hate Bare Naked Ladies, so it's that ability to agree to disagree and to have a thoughtful debate, which is what I enjoy. Haven, I mean, it's unfortunate to see your faction member get the loss there, especially on the last question. What were your thoughts on the debate? And what was your favorite question?
I think the first one with the first question was I thought it was unique.
What rock single is most improved by adding an accordion?
No, with the accordion.
The accordion.
Yeah. Yes, I was like, oh, because that first one, I didn't understand the format, because I don't think I've heard the opening statements to it, so I thought it was just going to be a regular match. So I was kind of like, oh, it's different, but it's always fun just to hear people's train of thoughts and just ideas, and it was fun. It was enjoyable. Vicious Trollop, she's always a nice person to have on, and they had fun. And my boy Caleb, he gets a bad rap, but he's very passionate about music, and when you talk to the guy, he knows a lot of stuff. So it was fun. I liked it.
The dude did well. I didn't agree with any of his opinions, but he defended them really well.
Yeah,
he definitely thrived in the rap proportion of it. When we flipped it into a trick question, he surprisingly did well. Like, just took his whole plan and flipped it, and it actually kind of worked well.
No, true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go back and watch it.
Yeah, for sure. Robert, now that I believe your audio issues are fixed, we're all good.
Yeah,
hopefully. Okay, so your thoughts on the jukebox dance-off where Jess defeated Caleb in a 5-round bout?
It was definitely a really fun watch, for sure. That's kind of what I have to say on that. Like, music debate isn't necessarily something that when it's first described you would think would be really entertaining, but it really was. It was awesome.
Yeah. Nice. Good to see. All right, so that covers a quick Jukebox Monday, and let's now get into Movie Tuesday, where our first match. In any other league, this is probably a championship match or like a number one contenders, very similar to that line. But over here at Technical Trivia, these guys are making their debut, and I thought this is a great debut for one of our panelists. That is, of course, Luca, Vail, and Madden. They took on the meme queen, Jen Kemp. And it was crazy. Luca going perfect in round one, although missing that bonus question. Jen going 6 of 8, which is still impressive. I want to go to Luca first. Your thoughts on the match and going and pre-game. What were your thoughts going up against Jen in your debut?
Oh, dude, I was so scared. Like, directly before the match, I was like, because thing is, there are 3 big movie trivia online J's, which I kind of brought up in the other match, which are Jacob Blunden, Jen Kemp, and Jeremy Adams. And I've now beaten all of them. Jen is the one that going up to it, I was like, I don't know about this one. And weirdly, coming out of it, it was the only time where I faced one of them, where I've beaten them, and I felt like I was the reason I beat them, not a matter of them beating themselves, because Jacob and Jeremy got questions wrong and they lost because of that in those matches. This one, I got a question right to beat Jen. So it was really good. It was super cool. I had a great time. It was a great match. Jen, bless her heart, just had a slip up and named it the wrong Woody Allen movie for Meryl Streep. And it was, at that point, it was pretty much over, but she made a really solid attempt to crawl back at the end of it. It was fun. I feel like I have climbed a mountain, and would now like to just kind of sit down for a bit at the top of it and take a bit of a rest.
All right, awesome. I want to go to Robert next. I mean, I believe you've competed against them, or you've definitely watched compete a number of times. So your thoughts on the match, and then Luca mentioned they got Meryl Streep in round 2, which I feel like is probably a good actress for both of them. Would you have done as well with Meryl Streep?
Nope, still can't hear.
Robert's audio, dang it.
Nope, can't hear you, Robert.
Okay. Okay, while Robert's getting his audio fixed, I'm gonna go to Haven. As the host, what were your thoughts on the match? And yeah, Meryl Streep, would you have done as well in Meryl Streep?
No, I love her as an
Are we good?
actress, but
Yeah.
All right, there you go, Robert. Go ahead. Let Robert go first.
Sorry,
Okay,
so
sure.
I'm on my phone because my laptop is being stupid today. Yeah, so I've never actually competed against either Luca or Jen. But both of them are great and have proven multiple times that they are great. Just for the fact that this is their first time facing each other, that's insane. Because you're right, in any other scenario, this could have been a championship match. They are both that damn good. Meryl Streep has a really, really broad filmography, so it's tough to say if I would have done as well as they did. It's just, I don't think that's a bad actress for anybody to pull, especially people who have the knowledge base that Jen and Luca had. So I don't think it was like a bad name to pull. I don't think anybody was like, oh no, I got Meryl Streep, that's why I lost. It was a really entertaining match, and Jen definitely, you can't take anything away from her. She's still a beast.
Yeah, for sure. Your thoughts on the match, and if you were to tentatively book somebody, or if you're, I want to get into your head in terms of scheduling, who do you think would be a good opponent for Luca next, and then who would be a good opponent for Jen, although she is 0-1?
Me or brother?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Haven. You.
Oh, I thought you were asking Robert. Oh,
No.
I don't know. I got to look through the. I mean, you know, let me go to the villain right now, because you know what, this guy Luca. You know, everybody's clapping and acting like he's a big fucking deal. The guy's been here. He's had one cup of coffee. He hasn't even been here a month yet, and everybody's like, "Oh, that match could have been a championship match somewhere else." That was his first match, all right, and he's lucky he got the win. I was hoping Jen would beat him so he could have some humility, but he ended up taking the win. I thought they both played really well. I don't know who they go up against next. You know, it's one of those tricky situations that me and Caleb are really trying to figure out. We're trying to figure out a balance, because there's a lot of people that I guess they think that if somebody's 0-1, they should play somebody 0-1, or somebody that's 1-1 or 1-0 should play somebody that's 1-0. But then that's going to kind of handicap the league sometimes. You know?
I got a suggestion.
Well, I'm just saying, yeah. But it's just, I don't know who they're going to face next. You know, I've looked through all the people we have. We got like 6 new people debuting next month in May. So, you know, there's going to be a lot of people keep coming in, you know. So, you know, I don't ever want us to be like where, you know, like I'm 1-2. Like, let's say I don't like Luca's mouth, you know, even though he's a good looking guy to look at. But if I want to put him in his place and he's 1-0 and I'm 1-2, well, I can't make that match without people bitching. You know, it should just be for fun, you know, without people, you know. I mean, we only do this for fun. It's not like, you know, serious. You know, people take it too serious, I think, when it comes to like, oh man, that guy, he's only 0-1. He shouldn't play that person next. It's like, man, we're having fun here. You know, that's the end of the day.
For sure.
People say everyone seems to be forgetting that I called someone out in that match.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's sitting here with us, Mr. Robert Parker. I called that motherfucker out. That's who I
wouldn't remember. Yeah, I would be very fine with that match. Like I said, I've been wanting to play Luca for a while, but we've just never come up one-on-one. Like,
have we never even been on FMT together?
No.
Jeez.
No. I'm 2-1 in movies here. I only lost to the current champion, so yeah, I'm looking to get back in the ring anyways.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely book that. Yeah. All right. I guess we already know what the next match.
Also, I agree. Jen going against anyone who is 0-1 would fucking devour them. Like, the idea that Jen would now go up against someone who's 0-1 or like with a negative record.
I would actually like, and mind you, this is pending like Haven's rumor. Caleb's rumor, just to throw out a name. I think that Billy Polihan, the guy who went up against Greg White, Luca's partner, Greg. I feel like he would actually like a good match. Like, I think Jen would have the edge, but I feel like he put up a good fight.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So with that, guys, let's get into the second match here on Movie Tuesday, where it was kind of a clusterfuck to be honest with you. It was originally supposed to be Brian taking on Dan Skip Allen, but then Brian had some had some scheduling issues, so they weren't sure if they're going to make it in. I want to let Haven take the lead on this because this is his division, and I want his opinion to be first.
Real quick, Friday, can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, my laptop's fixed.
Right.
You're echoing.
We hear a little echo, but yeah.
Yeah, it's because I was on my phone.
Yeah, we that match is we already classified it as an exhibition. That record's not going to count. It was supposed to start at 8:30. Both competitors agreed on that time. It didn't start till almost 2 hours after that because we were waiting for the guy, and Dan was gracious enough just to talk to us and bullshit for like the hour and a half that we're waiting for Brian to jump in. So me and Caleb were like, hey, well, I'll play him. I said I'll play him just so he doesn't be just sitting here waiting for like all night. And if the match wasn't gonna happen, so I stepped in. It started out fun. Then Brian did finally jump in, and it was just then it kind of went all right. I was still trying to have fun with it, but it just that's why I said it's just gonna be exhibition. A lot of people just didn't really care for it, so it's just sometimes you just try to please everybody, and it just ends up biting you in the ass. So
yeah,
so it was a little funky.
Yeah, for sure. We'll go to Robert next. Your thoughts on that match? And I mean, in round two, they did get Julie Andrews, another highly respected actress, one that has spanned throughout the decades. I mean, like you think of like Mary Poppins, and then even some of her animated work. You see her in like the Shrek franchise. What are your thoughts on Julie Andrews being an actress pulled in round two?
Yeah, so as far as Julie Andrews being an actress, she is one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, she's in that's an interesting pick in round two. Just because a lot of people are obviously gonna know like Sound of Music and Mary Poppins and then Shrek, but I don't think a lot of people have a good grip on the rest of her filmography besides those two extremes. So it's really interesting. But I thought the two guys the people who competed and handled it well enough. That's a really interesting filmography. It's not really one where you have 100 options that jump to mind right away, unlike Meryl Streep or somebody like that, or Samuel L. Jackson. There are other actors and actresses and directors where their filmography right away, and Julie Andrews is one you have to think about for a little bit.
She's in a Hitchcock movie, and I always forget that.
Yeah. Luca, I'll go to you. Your thoughts on the match. Even though it was an exhibition, Brian did pull out the W. I know Dan, I believe, I think Dan missed all of his questions in round three, and then Haven, I'm not sure how he did, but I know
I
haven't hit his 2-pointer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then I know round one was fairly low scoring. So yeah, Luca, your thoughts on the match.
I thought the match was fun. I thought the match was entertaining. I'm not sure what necessarily people have an issue about, with the exception of maybe Brian coming in late. And then, getting the W at the end of it, it's kind of, that's kind of a slightly poetic injustice, I guess. I think the match was a fun match. I would have preferred there to be thing is, I would have liked there to be a slightly nicer, more pleasant send-off for Skip, because Skip's now gone from the scene, at least for the moment, and I'm going to miss the dude. The dude's a real joy to watch. He's passionate, and he's like some of the best players here. He's passionate, and he can get a little argumentative, but you can very clearly see that he cares and wants to do it. So, I'm going to be sad to see the dude go. I think he has been a credit to the community. So yeah, that's basically my thoughts.
Absolutely. It's joining us is Caleb Mashed Potatoes. How we doing, man?
Doing good, man. How's it going?
Doing good. We're just talking about the Brian, Haven, and Dan match. So I'm gonna give my two cents on it, and then I'll let you go into it. I thought the match was fine. The one or the two things that bug me, and it's more so in terms of a producer's perspective, is this: if you're gonna be late, I understand shit happens, but try to let us know as soon as you can. Just because I was supposed to be like co-hosting that match, but then I had to back out just because it ran so late and I had to work the next morning. So I understand that happens, and like I've witnessed it firsthand, and it's happened to me before. But if we could try to control that, that'd be awesome. And the other thing is, and I can't speak for the other admins. I know that this might be a minority opinion, but if you are competing in a match and you are driving, I will not let you compete whatsoever. I know the laws up here in Canada are pretty strict. Actually, texting and driving is actually a worse offense than drunk driving. So in jukebox trivia, if you are going to be competing while driving your car, I won't let you. That's just dangerous, and I would feel liable if you got into a crash.
Well, Brian didn't want to compete in his car, to be fair to the guy. Like, Brian was specifically like, let me get in and then I will play.
Yep.
Like, that wasn't coming from Brian, the idea that he could compete in his car. I don't know where that exactly was coming from, but that was a conflict and it wasn't coming from Brian. But I agree with what you said. But also, you're kind of lecturing someone who's not here. So
I'm just like, if anybody like if anybody ever tries, or everybody tries to do that, or ever just kind of like, oh, I need to make this time so I'll just hop in on my car, and just like, I don't know. That's the way I kind of look at it. I know I'm in the minority, and I don't speak for all the admins whenever I do say that. Caleb, now that you've had a couple minutes to kind of process your thoughts, what were your thoughts on the match overall?
It was an interesting one. It was very interesting. I don't know. It was fun. I kind of had to work on my feet though. In retrospect, Brian probably shouldn't have been playing, just because it took so long, and there were lots of screw ups that day. But in terms of the actual game, it was good. It was close. And Brian knows his stuff. So like he came out with the win, despite all of the delays and technical whatever crap, and playing in his car and all the whatever crap that was happening. Like, that is, he played a good game. He won fair and square, and that's all I've got on that.
No, I don't think he was going to play in his car, but that's why I told him. I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
That's why I told him, hang up and just make sure you get home safe, and don't crash, just to be on the chat with us. I told him, like, just wait till you get home to join, but he said, oh, I'm right around the corner. I just want to let you guys know I am jumping in. So I was like, okay. But I don't think if he was going to try to play in his car, I would tell him, like, nah, dude, you're driving, like, you crazy. That's not cool. Especially, God forbid, if, he would have got hurt or injured somebody else,
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's move past that awkward subject and into probably the match that I want to talk about the most. On Wrestling Wednesday, we had debuting competitors, and I now get to say something that I don't think I would ever have the opportunity to say. The Hobbit, Robert Parker, won a wrestling match. He got 14 points in wrestling. That's crazy. That's absurd. This match was very entertaining for me. I know Ryan has a lot of knowledge in WCW, and I find that very intriguing. But I think Robert just banked a round 2 category in his wheelhouse with WrestleMania. And then I know Ryan hit his 5-pointer in round 3. He got a pretty interesting WCW question to send it back to Robert, and then Robert got. I know he missed his 2-pointer, and then your 3-pointer was what was it?
It was Booker T's teammate in Harlem.
Booker's, yeah. All right, so I want to go to Robert first. Now that you have competed and you defeated Hunter, your thoughts on the match, and who do you want to call out next? Like, I mean, it only grows from here, right?
I guess so. I said this in the post-match interview too. I got very lucky in that wrestling match. I stand by the fact that I truly believe Ryan has a much wider base of knowledge than I do. I have a very specific knowledge, but I hit WrestleMania in round 2, and like WrestleMania highlights are one of the only things I know about wrestling. So I was able to get some good points in round 2 and pull out the win. I also made the joke that I want to retire in wrestling. Now that I'm 1-0, I got a winning record and won 100% of my matches. But I did say that I will come back to wrestling as soon as Chance gets a win. I want to play Chance in wrestling. So because we both know that we're not great, so I want to play Chance in wrestling at some point.
Yeah. Caleb, I'll go to you next. Your thoughts on the match, seeing guys that are probably like IG heavy step into a circle that normally no one would expect them to hop in.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit tired of we're not falling for it anymore, guys. Like, all right, this is Chance and Robert now. We've both been like, oh, we're terrible at wrestling. It's the worst. And then pull out the win, and then Chance almost beat Nico, who's a former champ. Like, come on, guys. You enough with the act. We get it. You know everything. But yeah, it was a fun match. Ryan is a very energetic competitor and got very into the game. Robert just came out and surprised everybody. I feel like with that, it was a lot of fun to watch. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there. I got caught up doing something that night, but I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yeah. Before I go to Haven, I want to shout out to people in the chat. John Salvi saying Robert is the one I would expect to watch wrestling the least. Mark Warwick thinking that your Harlem Heat question should have been a 5-pointer, and that he wants to challenge Robert in a WTS match.
Mark,
no. So a hard no from Haven. And he also says beating Nico means nothing at all. It's like beating Hunter in WTS. I mean, the last time
the first WTS champion.
I mean, the last time somebody beat Hunter was for the championship. So, I mean, to beat Hunter, it means you got to be something. Haven,
maybe he meant the Hunter,
or maybe he meant Hunter.
No, he said Hunter, just Hunter.
Yeah, but you know how he is with typing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Text to speech.
JTE is his role model.
Mark is your friend and teammate. Chill out.
It's not me?
Yeah, it's on you. Your thoughts on the match.
Before I say the match, I want to give my shout out to my co-host that evening and the match before, Nicole, member of the NWO. That was cool that she jumped on and co-hosted that match with me. The wrestling match was fun as hell, man. That's a beautiful thing about Jack of All Trivia is that, guys can, jump in, dip their toes in any league, and I like these guys because they don't have that pride where it's like, oh, I know I can't win in that match, so I'm not going to play that match. These guys came out, they had fun, they spent time in the wrestling division for that match, and it was great, man. It was good to see what these guys knew and what they didn't know, and it was a really fun match, And it was I didn't know which way it was gonna go, but I thought Ryan probably was gonna take it, but at the end of the day, Robert got that W, and he's one step closer to completing the circle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Luca, your thoughts on the match? Seeing these fish out of water venture into a very big pond in the terms of wrestle.
Look, I watched the match, and it was like it was in fucking Greek. I was like, what are any of these words? Robert was like, WrestleMania highlights are one of the only things I know about wrestling, and I'm literally just like, what's that? What is WrestleMania? My understanding of how the events went is that there is a thing, and Robert doesn't know very much about the thing, and Ryan maybe knows a bit more about the thing, but this time Robert did better on the thing. So, well done to Robert for knowing about the thing, I will never be competing in this league.
I would love to see if there is. If I believe in an alternate universe, Luca is taking on Jeremy for the WTS title. Those are two guys that you will never see in a WTS ring. That would be
Actually, no. Okay, right. Call out, Jeremy. Wrestling match. Do it. Come on. Lowest scoring match of all time across any league. Come on.
I don't know.
I was gonna say I've played a match and only put up 3 points before, so.
Nico is bursting out laughing at Luca's description of that match. So yeah, that was pretty gosh darn hilarious. So with that, guys, let us go into a very interesting IG Thursday. The first match that we had, I mean, Nico was very prominent in making sure that everybody saw this match.
Did Nico win?
I'm not sure.
Well,
he was very proud at making sure everybody saw this match. That is of course the at the time 0-1 Nico taking on 0-1 El Lobo Jim Green. And what was a pretty good match. Nico getting the wheel, like the wheel was in his favor, banking a player's choice and then being like, yeah, I'll take Harry Potter, take his strength off the wheel, and then the wheel being like, I'm gonna one up you, and then give Jim opponent's choice, and then he went right to Star Trek, and I feel like that might have been a misfire because I mean Jim went 4 for 4. Getting 1 point on each question. So I want to go to Robert first. Your thoughts on that match, and I mean for Jim getting the loss, that's pretty hard. Is this match different if the wheel is a little more consistent for the players?
Yeah, I think if the wheel doesn't land on both opponent's choice and player's choice for Nico, this could have been a very different game. And that's not to say that the match was only banked on that luck, because I don't think that was the only determining factor. But I definitely think that was a damn big factor for why Nico was able to win here. Round 1 was pretty solid both ways. Like neither person, was getting a perfect round, but they were still putting up points. Yeah, round 2 was really where this match was won and lost. Nico has been binging to study for this match. He was binging Harry Potter, he was telling everybody about it all the time. And, he not only did he do really well in Harry Potter, but that's also Jim's biggest strength, takes that off the wheel. And then Jim spins opponent's choice, and that was really the nail in the coffin.
Yeah. All right. We go to Caleb. John has a question for Luca. This is back to the wrestling aspect. So I want to ask Luca this question. I want to give him time to think about it, and then whenever I go to his opinion, I'll ask him for an answer. So, Luca, your question from John Salvi is: he wants you to tell everybody what a Survivor Series match is.
Right.
So take some time to think about that, and then I'm going to go to Caleb next. Caleb, your thoughts on the match being one of the hosts.
The Nico versus Jim match. It was a lot of fun. I think, yeah, neither had like the strongest round 1. I think Nico came out with a lead, if I remember it right. So he led that whole game, I believe. But then that worked out really well for him. He got spinner's choice, and I was amazed. I thought he would go with the strength, but instead he went strategic, which we should kind of expect from him now that we've seen him use similar strategies in the comic book league and stuff like that. That he's a pretty smart player, and the gamble paid off. That he did pretty well. I think he only had to go multiple choice for 1 or 2 of them, I think. And did really well. And then given Jim Star Trek, I think Jim could have potentially swept that round, that round 2. He just kind of doubted himself. He was pretty confident. I mean, he was saying Bruce before I even said Bruce Greenwood for the who played Commander Pike question. he just couldn't pull Sarek off the tip of his tongue. So I don't know. I feel like he got shaken by how much luck was on Nico's side a little bit. I feel like if literally any of those factors went a little bit different, Jim probably could have come away with that win. That's not taking anything away from Nico, though. I mean, he did exactly what he trained to do. He studied and like trained like hard in Harry Potter, and then and then used that to take Jim's strength off the wheel. It was a great maneuver, and it paid off for him.
Yeah. Haven, I'll go to you next. Your thoughts on the match, and then do you think that this match is? I know Nico got the W and he had to lead the entire way, but do you think, in terms of Nico's strategy, should he have taken more time to maybe pick out a different weakness for Jim, maybe video game movies or like scores and soundtracks? Because I feel like it was like as soon as it was his opponent's choice, he went boom, Star Trek. That's what we're giving him, and then I'd be like, Jim could have easily tied it up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
It's surprising because a lot of people they stay away from Star Trek, but Jim he knew the answers, like Caleb was saying. Once you watch the match, he just he kept going to multiple choice because he wasn't sure of it. But if he had a little more confidence when hearing the question or maybe asked for a repeat, he probably could have got 8 points in round 2 instead of 4 points, and he would have been dominating going into round 3. I was surprised that. Like Nico, the last time he played, he lost, and he said, that he needs to figure out a strategy. He needs to go back to the drawing board. So it's good that he studied, and that he got the W, So I know he's excited, pumps him up, gives him a little mojo back. And it was a close fought match. It wasn't like he beat the shit out of Jim and went to 1 point. He only beat him 14-13. So it was a back and forth match. I just. The wheel has a lot of options. I thought Nico would have picked a strength of his because you never know if the wheel's going to be kind and give Harry Potter to Jim. That wasn't a foregone conclusion. So I thought if Nico would have picked actually one of his strengths and got 8 points in round 2, he would have had a more comfortable lead. But at the end of the day, it was a fun match for 2 debuting guys in the IG.
Yeah. So now I want to go to Luca. So first, Luca, can you please tell everybody what a Survivor Series match is, in your opinion, and then your thoughts on the match and who would be a good opponent for both competitors going into the future?
Okay, so the only thing that I can think of the Survivor Series might be is like a series of matches that take place over an extended period of time where 2 fighty guys fight each other, and the guy who fights worse and gets knocked out, maybe, gets taken out, and then someone else comes in for another match, and then whoever loses that one goes out, and another person comes in. So it's about how long you can survive, and maybe also takes place on like an isolated tropical island where there are frogs and bugs, and you need to build campfires and stuff. That was the closest thing I could come to a reasonable definition, and then I know there's a show called Survivor.
Man, he was reading that off of Wikipedia the whole time. It was right there.
I know, it's mad. What do I think of the match? Okay, first of all, picking your opponent's strength in the wheel round if you hit player's choice is something that you do if you think your opponent is better at their strength than you are at your strength, right? Mm-hmm. Because it takes your opponent's strength off the wheel. And it's something that you do if you don't have enough confidence in what you're strong in. I know that Nico knows Star Wars really fucking well, and he should have taken Star Wars because he would have gotten more points in it. And maybe Jim would have spun Harry Potter or Player's Choice himself, but that's the exact same chances he has of spinning, Player's Choice or something else that he's strong in if that's not taken off the wheel. So I tend to not be a fan of strategic moves that are let's play the system, because it's just get the points. But I thought the match was good. I like seeing Nico winning because it's always really sad when he loses. He's always really sad, and I don't like seeing anyone that sad. Good opponents for them. I don't know. So let's see. Jim is 0-2 now.
Or he's 1-2. He's 1-2.
1-2?
Yeah.
Who else is like? I don't know, like
I'm 1 and 2, I think.
that's not necessarily a bad idea, or maybe like inflate his record a bit, give him U mark. Like that might be slightly more competitive if it goes a little bit better for you. As far as Nico's concerned, let's see. If I wasn't going up against Jess Morgan, I'd quite like to take on Nico. Maybe that's my plan. I just go from Jess to Nico, and then I take out both of those guys. But I like putting myself in matches. So besides that, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe Kane, you know.
Maybe.
Or like Marbury, maybe? I don't know.
Well, I mean, in that area, we got Kane, Jake, Jim, Malcolm, Caleb, Haven are all in that area of rankings.
I like the idea of Kane.
I'd like to see Caleb Coho face Nico.
That would, yeah, that'd be interesting. The Battle of Provo is pretty well.
Yeah.
Kane. Now, Robert, correct me if I'm wrong here. Kane is the former 15th ranked competitor, right? That's not.
He still is the 15th.
I think he still is. Yeah.
He still is a 15th ranked competitor.
Yep, he's still 15.
Yeah, I don't understand. I believe it's an Alpha Alliance in joke, but that's something that's referenced quite heavily.
Oh, quite a bit.
Yeah.
Jim co-hosted a match, and then it's been a thing ever since.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the second half of IG Thursdays, where we had not quite a number one contenders match, but definitely one where you could see definitely the winner moving up in the ranks, and that is Christopher Woodburn, a seasoned veteran of the league, taking on one of the OG guys in fun size, Stephen Brody, and what was a pretty good match. I know Woodburn got DC in round 2. He was a little bit frustrated though with his first 2 questions being animated movies. Fun size got MCU.
Yep.
And then the quotes that they both got were pretty interesting. That Angry Birds one is a bastard, rearing its ugly head back into IG. So I want to go to Caleb first, because the question that I have for him is, I know in round 2 Woodburn was kind of frustrated with how there was a lot of animated DC. So maybe sort of address it to the IG audience, should players be prepping their DC animated knowledge, maybe some Marvel stuff, because I think
it's certainly something that we've been talking about. I think you should know your animated movies as well as I think DC and Marvel animated movies have just as much of a right to be on there as any other as any other movies. But we've kind of talked about maybe making it a separate category, just so that if there's, you can have the animated comic book movies and then all the other ones. But I don't know. I still stick by my guns that those were totally fair questions. I mean, they're movies based on DC comics, and they're they're worth watching too. So I don't know.
Should or maybe even okay, before I get to Luca, Luca, go ahead.
Okay, so I have some really strong opinions on this, as I do about lots of things. Who knew? The key thing here is that, right, it's the Inner Geekdom League. The key thing about Inner Geekdom is that it's geek, right? And what is geek? It's about that single-minded, focused, specific fandom, right? Mm-hmm. If you're asking questions about DC movies and Marvel movies, all of these hugely grossing, massively populist, seen by everyone movies, and stopping just there, then what's geeky about that? I think the fact that you need to know your Assault on Arkhams, the fact that you need to know your Under the Red Hoods, the fact that you need to know your Mask of the Phantasm, your Teen Titans movies, your video game movies, all of that kind of stuff, your Big Hero 6. That's what makes it geeky, because that is a specific and specifically required depth of knowledge that I don't think it qualifies as geeky if you've just seen some movies that are some of the highest grossing films of all time and just happen to be based on comic books and sci-fi stuff. Like,
Amen.
if you're expecting to get a free pass, then what's geeky about that? That's not...
Not to mention, there's only so many Dark Knight questions you can ask.
Except there aren't that many DC movies. Like,
yeah. And certainly not that many good ones.
I'm getting an echo on somebody's end. I'm not sure who that is, but I'm not sure if this question has been asked or this movie has been asked before. But I would love to hear questions about Justice League: Crisis on Two Earths. I feel like that is a very that is a very good movie. Woodburn mentioning though as well. I think he kind of wants to clarify his beef was that the movies questioned that were questioned weren't theatrically released. Maybe that was what he was kind of frustrated about. And yes, Haven, I do see that DVD. I have watched it. It is awesome. I love the Crime Syndicate. I think they're great. Robert, your thoughts on the match and the quotes in round 3.
Yeah, the quotes, the Angry Bird one was, like, a little bit tough, but if you've seen the trailer for that movie and you, like, broaden, like, so for a lot of people going into quotes for the Intergatum, they think, oh, man, which Marvel movie is it? Like, from the quotes, but really, if you go into the quote round a little bit more broad and your mind isn't as focused, you can kind of get a hint. Like, if you've seen the trailer for Angry Birds, you know what movie that's from, that quote, because that quote is in the trailer. So
I don't know if you've noticed, a lot of the quotes are in.
A lot of the quotes are from the trailers. Yeah, that's one of the ways I study for quotes is I watch trailers. But the Angry Birds one, it seems difficult, but if you think that it actually is an Intergatum, it's not that hard to pull. The quotes in general I thought were fine. Really, I'm not a huge fan of making a separate category for animated movies. I think you should absolutely include them in the separate Marvel and DC. But if you're going to add another category, I would say make a separate category for non-theatrically released. Because I kind of understand Woodburn's beef there a little bit, because those movies either weren't theatrically released or had a very, very brief stint. But I also agree that, why shouldn't they be asked about? But yeah, I mean, it's a conversation worth having. I don't think that you should just not ask those questions at all, no matter what. But I don't disagree with making a separate category for them, I guess.
I think that provided you are being clear with exactly what appears in each category.
Yeah.
Like, I think Woodburn's issue was probably more that, like, he was under the impression it was just the theatrically released movies, and it wasn't, and so there's a disconnect there.
Yeah.
But, like, I think this has given, like, the opportunity to say, no, it's all of the stuff,
which it should be.
One thing that I would say about the quotes thing is that there's been kind of rumblings about video game related movies and whether they should be in, like, video game movies in the IG area. And one of the things that Angry Birds quote kind of clued me in on was the fact that if you broaden it to video game related movies, you broaden the scope of the quotes so much more, not just, like, the specific details from the films. Because, like, you can research stuff like Wreck-It Ralph and stuff like that. But, like, if you're including quotes from any movie that is, like, very much about video games or related to video games, that then exponentially increases the pool. Which is another one of those things that I think is kind of a complication factor in, like, do you expand video game movies to be just movies based on video game properties, or movies related to video gaming? Because video gaming is geeky, but it's just one of those balancing acts.
Yeah, as far as the quotes are concerned, like video game movie quotes in general appearing in IG can be tough enough. I mean, a lot of people. I mean, there have been very few. Granted, there have been very few video game movie quotes used in the third round.
I remember Sandy got one in your match, right?
Yeah, Sandy was a word. Sandy was a word away from
because of a Resident Evil one. Yeah, so I think a lot of times those can be kind of hard to distinguish in the IG. I don't know.
To be fair, if Sandy was in the actual Schmodown, he might have been asked to clarify and got it right. So.
Oh my!
It's true.
Yeah. So that covers Jackal trivia. But before
we
we go,
want to talk about the
sorry,
going of the
yeah.
box.
I didn't know that about the match.
Go Haven, yeah, your thoughts.
It was good to see Fun Size back in the ring. That's our brother. We one of the original members we started with. The Angry Bird one threw me off because I think the quote maybe should have been a little longer. I think it was only like 3 words, right? Like I always blow up or something. And
No,
I was like
7 words. Sometimes when they get mad, I explode.
explode. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, because that had me lost because I was like, what fucking movie is he talking about? Because I think I might have not heard the video game to it, so I was just racking my brain. Like I was like, what the? I was like, this shit could have been said in any movie, But when it said Angry Birds, I was like, oh shit, yeah, I would have never thought of that because that movie like sucked. Like I think I watched it one time, like half of it, and I turned that shit off. But it was sneaky. It was a sneaky quote, because I was racking my brain, and I was like, I just couldn't pull it, myself. Yeah. But I thought the match was fun. It would have been good to see our brother Fun Size get the W, but he lost. And Woodburn just showing that he's a well-rounded player when it comes to movies and IG. I haven't seen Woodburn really play in other divisions yet. I don't think he's played a TV or a jukebox match. So, yeah, so he's got his comfort zone. He sticks to that. So it was all right. It was a fun match.
Before we get into our next topic, Kale, can you say that quote again, but with more emotion?
Okay. Let's see. Sometimes when I get mad, I explode.
Boom! Awesome.
There it is.
Yeah.
There.
Gift that moment.
I know that's always a thing in the IG matches where I think it's when it's you and Kane would be like, you just say it with a little more emotion.
Yeah. I mean, I try to change up the inflection every once in a while when I.
Yeah.
I imagine it's hard, like when it's a quote from a character that you know very well. It's kind of hard to not even think it in their speech patterns and stuff like that. Paul Ayama has actually made like a very good comment in chat, which is a point that I didn't consider, which is that it's actually more difficult to get your hands on the direct-to-video movies. Like,
that's definitely true.
They're harder to find, which is true.
I mean, I guess now, but like in like recent years, they were all on freaking Netflix. Like,
yeah, sure. Like a lot of them have been taken off, and like we don't necessarily rely on everyone being a pirate. Because don't do it, kids.
Yeah, for legal reasons, we have to say that. But okay, come on. So like Pirate Bay, like what are you talking about here?
All right, so before we get into the showdown stuff, I want to do something that was kind of announced a little while ago, and one that definitely plays a role into our match later, the Game of Faxes match going up at 11 p.m. Eastern. Better see all of you cool kids in the chat, either competing or there. I have a empty Dino Sours bag that is going to be our dried device. Great candies. If you're ever at a rink in Canada, you definitely saw these here. And I have the following divisions. So first we have movies. Movies is gonna go in the bag here. We have wrestling. Got music, TV, and last but not least, we have IG. So what's going to happen
Speaking of drawing, do we want to talk about the Marvel Gauntlet draw after this?
While I'm shaking this up, you guys can chat about it real quick.
Anybody got any favorites
for the
Grant?
I think Grant and Woodburn are the 2 favorites probably, but there's definitely dark horses in that match. I wouldn't say that it's automatically one of those 2 to win right away.
Judging by Matt Rose's performance in the FMT, if he's like got any specialists, if he's like a specialist in the MCU, judging by how good he was at general FMT, like for the last match, he might have a shot too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Matt Rose might be a bit of a dark horse.
We don't know. Yeah, and I think maybe there's a couple of new guys.
There's three people that we've never had compete in this league yet, which is insane. Like in terms of just like before the drawing, even guys, we got like 25 people saying that they were interested. We had like 25 or something names in that bag or in that hat, cup, whatever it was, the Michigan Cup. It was crazy. So thanks for everybody who was interested. But yeah, that then when it came out to being like 3 total unknowns to us, I think that's awesome. And then we got 2 really strong competitors and another face. I think like that's honestly like the best we could have hoped for in terms of mixes of
I like it. Caleb Coho has not stopped crying since Kane posted that video. He's still in tears.
That is true.
That's why he couldn't be here. Bless his heart.
Ryan's also pretty upset about it.
Yeah. All right, guys. So with that, I have shaken up the names. I was going to get Sue to do this, but unfortunately, she is just getting over a flu right now. She was homesick all yesterday, and then today she pretty well slept the entire day. So we are wishing a speedy recovery for her.
God bless you, so you get better.
Never fun seeing your wife sick. No energy at all. It's not fun. Although she did watch a lot of Life in Pieces, that show with Colin Hanks, the Tom Hanks' son. Actually pretty interesting. So the first category, the first division that will be asked in the Game of Factions is it's going to be movies. Movies right out of the gate.
Wow.
Movies will be first, and then second is going to be TV. TV is number 2. What we got here? Or we got IG. IG is number 3.
Music or wrestling to finish it.
Yeah.
So are you drawing number 4 or the 5th one? Then?
I'm drawing number 4.
Okay.
Number 4.
So number 4 is going to be music.
Cool.
And then number 5 is going to be
the decider.
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
So movies, TV, IG, music, and then wrestling. That's crazy.
That's an interesting one.
So
what? Okay, so I want to ask.
Easy win for the NWO.
Easy win. So my question for you guys today, we're all, it's a very diverse panel. Robert being with Alpha Alliance, Luca being with Apocalypse, Haven being with the NWO, and myself being with Total Nation. What is the category that is going to be the closest? I mean, like, there's obviously favorites in each division, but what is the one that could essentially be anybody's? Caleb, we'll go to you first.
The one that could potentially be anybody's. I'd say either wrestling or IG. They've most of the factions have very strong people in Inner Geekdom, and then wrestling. There's only a few like really strong players in wrestling right now, and most of them aren't in a couple of the factions, so it's going to be really. And then NWO is like they have a few unknowns that came in, I know, specifically to play wrestling, so it could be that like weird dark horse thing where like the NWO comes from behind and wins it on wrestling because they've got those ringers that they brought in. So in terms of like, I think the one that is the most up in the air is wrestling. Because Apocalypse has Mark, Alpha Alliance has Nico, I would assume.
That's Atomic Nation.
Yeah, I apologize. Then I don't know who would play in Alpha Alliance.
Oh, really?
Hunter?
Oh yeah, Hunter.
I mean, if he makes it on time, God bless the guy, but he's always like oh, I thought you meant Central. It's like it's Eastern, like every goddamn time.
Welcome to our life. We've been dealing with that for like 8 months.
Yeah.
Come on.
All right, Robert, I'll go to you next. What do you think is the division that is most up in the air?
So I think, it's tough. I think the division that is the most up in the air as far as like there's not one or two clear favorites, I think it's either movies or wrestling. I think it's the first and the last. I think there are a lot of great movie players, and since we don't really know the lineups, I think it's going to be really interesting to see who steps into that movies ring. And I think wrestling, there's a lot of great wrestling players, and there's definitely some superstar wrestling players in each of the factions. So I think that's going to be definitely those two where points are most likely to be up for grabs.
Yeah. Luca, your thoughts on what division is most up in the air?
I'm gonna pretty solidly say movies, because movies is the one that I think every faction has a really strong competitor to go for.
Yep.
I think that there are some factions that have like particularly strong TV guys, but are maybe lacking in other areas, or particularly strong wrestling guys lacking in other areas. Movies is the one where everyone I think has a reliable person to send in. And I've got my own idea in my head of who's going in for all the various, the various sections from the various factions.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm right, which I'm not saying that I am, I think movies is going to end up being the closest one. So, with a slight dark horse honorable mention to TV, I think there are some very strong TV players.
Yeah. Haven, your thoughts?
Yep, I'm gonna have to go after this. I gotta walk my animals. I think that movies is gonna be the closest one because everybody pretty much joins the league to play in movies, and everybody has a strong player in movies. I think the ones that are gonna be the make or break teams is probably gonna be TV. Depending on the questions and who plays in that, because I think well, for the NWO, we got a strong player. We're gonna win wrestling hands down, and jukebox, we got a player for that. I mean, we got 4 people in the NWO.
You guys have a player for jukebox?
That's a play in wrestling. So wrestling is.
Do you?
Gonna be like,
So Haven, just to clarify, you do have your 5 people, correct? Like you do have a person for each division.
I thought NWO was just Haven like pretending to be other people. Like I thought it was all him.
That's fucking fantastic.
As soon as we announced the match, I went on my NWO chat. I said, "Hey guys, this is the game match. This is the time. This is the date." And that was like 3 weeks ago, and I already had my 5 people since then. But wrestling is gonna be a cakewalk for the NWO. We're winning that hands down. We got 4 people that play.
You're sending in 4 people for wrestling?
No, we got 4 people in the NWO that just joined just to play in wrestling. Like that's what they know. Like they're not playing in other divisions. All they're here is for is wrestling. So wrestling, we won that easily. Jukebox, if we win jukebox in TV,
which you won,
then it's a wrap. Like it's a wrap. We got competitors for those. So I think that the movies and the TV ones are going to be the ones to watch out for because everybody has a strong player for movies, and then whoever plays for TVs, and if that, I think that's going to be the make or break round is the TV. Just for the divisions. For the teams. Whoever wins that one, I think.
I mean, to slightly lead one way, the last time somebody from the Apocalypse took on somebody from the NWO in Jukebox, it was a clean sweep, I guch you would say. It was like 5 or 6 to nothing.
Was that my match?
No, that was whenever Luca and Caleb went on in heads up part 1.
Well, Luca's hands down like the best player jukebox division has. I'm not gonna take nothing away from that guy in that. I mean, he ain't shit nowhere else, but jukebox. But I'll be back.
I'm shook. I've won literally everything I've done
here.
All right. So with that, Haven, before you go, any plugs you want to make? Any NWO bullshit you want to propose?
I believe he's gone.
He's gone? All right.
Good riddance. Just kidding. He's a great guy.
All right. So with that, let's get into our Schmodown neck of the woods. So before we get into our first match, I'm going to address the free-for-all. We are not going to be going into a spoiler review. We're going to give people the weekend to sort of process it out and think it. And I believe what we're going to do is that we're going to have a master post on the Facebook page, but it's just going to be like there'll be a big warning, spoilers in this thread. So if you do not want to get spoiled, do not follow this post at all whatsoever. But before that, I believe everybody has watched the rewind. So, in as non-spoilery as you can, your thoughts on the free throw. We will start with Robert first and work our way down.
Sure. So I really enjoyed the free for all. I thought it was very consistent. I thought there were definitely some surprise entrants that did extremely well. Some surprise entrants that left a little on the table to be desired. But overall, very entertaining match. The free fall was my favorite of all the pay-per-view events last year. It's looking up to be my favorite of the pay-per-view events this year too.
Yeah. Luca, your thoughts?
The free-for-all have kind of single-handedly saved the Schmodown for me this year so far. I've not been massively invested in it as in terms of like the past few months. I just don't think that this season has necessarily been as entertaining. They've not had the same kind of high-level competition with high-level interesting characters and players at the same level. Overall, I mean, there have been some shining spots. But it was great. I think I liked it more than the first free-for-all. Which, I mean, it didn't have the massive defining moments, but it had some like really consistent, really great players. I think Bibiani going for 21?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What was that? What was that? Sorry, huh? What?
Nothing.
Sue?
You broke up there. You broke up there. I didn't.
I think Sue, I think that was Sue. Just
fucking hell. Yeah. So there was a thing, and they did the thing good. Yeah, I liked it a lot. Next person.
Caleb, your thoughts on the free throw?
I enjoyed myself for the most part. There were definitely some moments that I was watching like sitting down and like jumped out of my chair at like 2 points that I got super excited. One of them was a major letdown, and the other one was pretty awesome.
Are you talking about that? You talking about that one?
Yep.
Ugh.
I have a couple of problems with the final round just because it didn't seem consistent with what happened last year, but I could be wrong.
Do that way either.
Yeah,
but they set up the president for it.
That exactly. Yeah. So I mean, I understand why they did it, I guess, but but for the most part, I thought it was a fantastic event. It was super fun. Unfortunately, it got spoiled for me like last night at 3 a.m. and I was super mad about that for a little bit. But it was a ton of fun. I enjoyed it overall. Some of the surprise competitors, I was a little bit like, who? I wish like they had gotten a couple more like actual like known names in there. But that being said, specifically Ethan came in and like dominated. I mean, he wasn't like completely unknown, but he lasted so long in that it was a ton of fun to watch him. This new guy come in and do really well in it.
I mean, like, yeah.
Oh, I want to say shout out to Paul Ayama, Michael Campbell, and Lucas Schildbach for being the most like delightfully bitchy Schmodown viewing party I could have imagined. That was great. We were all being just dickheads.
I could see that happening.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, I kind of agree with Paul in the chat about how ridiculously easy the questions were.
Some of the questions were.
Whew.
I
am at best a like higher mid-level player, and I got like 10. I think it was like my total was like 12 perfect rounds. In that match, like I didn't miss a lot. There were some pretty dang easy questions, but then later on when they had higher prestige players, they got harder. So I can't fault them too much.
I will say, so that moment, there is a specific moment that Caleb is talking about that was a massive letdown. There was one of those things where it's like, it was like a holy shit, and then like a complete fucking bait and switch.
Oh, it was funny. It was funny.
I hated that moment, but it was so effective.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It was so good.
I could not have imagined a better way for them to do that plot event.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, the second I heard that song, I was on my feet, just like, yes.
Yeah. You can.
That's the closest that this free for all got to an XX5XX, and as far as I'm concerned, that's the defining moment of the free for all. I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, Sam clearing the table too, like, so 2 table clears like last year, and we didn't get anything that big this year.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, it isn't up yet, but it will be up probably on Sunday, maybe Monday. But myself, Tim, and Mark actually did a reaction for the free throw. I believe I think part 2.
Cut the video into it now.
Yeah, part 2 was live for a little bit. Whenever I was setting it up, I was half in the bag. So I forgot to click the old private. So I think a couple people caught us live reacting to it. But the thing that amazed me is that there were 48 competitors, and like it's like 18 more than what they had last year. I feel like there could have been a lot more because there were some notable omissions that I noticed, and
I think part of that was
scheduling.
Yeah, part of that was scheduling.
Yeah, but it was weird. It was weird for them to be like, there was 48 people, but I feel like there could have easily been 60, and that would have been just as awesome.
God,
but yeah,
I hope they don't do 6. I hope they don't do more than this next year.
Yeah,
I think
really
50,
I would say 50 would be
50 is
fair.
the highest it needs to be. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the total view time of this was
3 hours 45.
3 hours.
The match itself was about 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but yeah, it was good. There were some good chuckle moments. There was a lot of when people didn't know the answer, they put on some pretty hilarious stuff. Like I had some pretty good chuckles there with some of the answers.
One recurring incorrect answer from one competitor I got funnier every single time.
Yeah, for sure.
From a one half of critically acclaimed, I just found it very funny.
Also, the post-credit scene. Be sure
garbage, trash, hated it. Literally the worst part of the whole episode.
No,
hated it.
I feel people should tune in.
I was a little bit confused as to why there were like 2 back-to-back dance questions in those last rounds. And also like why there was so much Cameron Diaz throughout was very strange to me. But
so much Kate Blanchett as well.
I thought
there was a lot of Julia Roberts.
There was an explanation for how the questions worked.
Julia Roberts.
So for the questions,
5 or 6 Cameron Diaz.
The explanation by Chris Galicki was that for each category there were 4 questions written for every category for the free-for-all, and then every single question was put into a bank and randomized for when it would be said. So the fact that all 4 Cameron Diaz questions were asked, that was random.
Very quick sequence.
Yeah.
I would say that was similar to like whenever Robert Meyer Burnett won the IG title at the Spectacular. You notice in the last round, there's a lot of Star Trek questions.
Yep.
So it's just look at the draw sometimes, and yeah. So
also shout out to Michael Campbell. He apparently wrote like half of the questions in that free for all. We were watching it together, and like every 1 in 5 questions, he was like, "I sent that one in." It's like, Michael, how many do you send in?
Really interesting.
Oh, awesome.
Props to Michael Campbell.
I'm doing that with all of my used IG questions.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go into the previous match. Tuesday. That was a very interesting match on paper where you had Team Trek coming back in from what seemed like they played forever ago. Whenever they lost to Action Army, I think was the last time they competed against a very hot World's Finest. They were coming in with a win over the Kingsmen, but a very good debut nonetheless. There were some interesting moments in this match. I feel like Mance might have might have like was just pushing his answers at Oscars. I think he didn't really take the time to think. Where I think the enthusiasm got the best of him. And then there were some interesting moments that I'm kind of curious to hear everybody's opinion on it. Luca, I will go to you first. Your thoughts on the match, and yeah.
I will say first of all, definitively that Hilary Swank won an Oscar for playing a man. I will say that straight up. Besides that, I liked the match. I thought the match was interesting. World's Finest are a couple of really interesting characters. And I always love seeing Jason Inman, and I love seeing Scott Mance when he's next to Jason Inman. I had a fun time. I thought Trek got a little bit of a rough deal. I enjoyed the match. I thought the match was pretty fun.
Yeah. I feel like in both of Trek's spins, they were both either categories that lean towards Mance, but Inman didn't really have like I don't think Inman considers Oscars one of his strengths, as well as I believe Will Smith was the first category that they spun. But yeah, very just kind of a bad luck deal. And then their 5-point question was very, very tough. I was leaning towards a certain way, but yeah, I think it was a very tough one. Caleb, your thoughts? I know that you're one of the advocates in terms of comic book movies going outside of the regular Marvel DC neck of the woods. What were your thoughts on that 5-point question?
I haven't seen this episode, so I wasn't wearing my headphones to hear your question.
Okay.
I've been busy doing a lot of different question writing things. I haven't gotten around to watching it yet. No.
Okay, so I will ask Robert the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to jump out here for a sec, and I'll be back after this part of the discussion.
Sure.
Okay, sure.
All right. Yep, bye.
Yeah, so as far as Trek and World's Finest, Team Trek is one of my favorite teams in the Schmodown. They're in my top 5 favorite teams. They have been for a long time. I mean, the thing is, they have been out of action since they lost the team action. They haven't played together as a team. Scott Mance hasn't played at all since the first round of the Ultimate Schmodown singles. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, he's just watching. Nothing.
No. Yeah.
Okay, nothing. We're Brooklyn and I had it then. So, Team Trek was very rusty. They haven't played together in a while, and Scott Mance hasn't played at all in a while. They were very rusty, and you saw it by the end of round 1. By the end of round 1, they were 2 repeats gone. Scott Mance missed his first 2 questions that he should have gotten. For the first half of round 1, it was just Jason Inman who was trying to play against World's Finest. I think a lot of people wanted to see the Team Trek that was 1 challenge away from beating the Patriots. A lot of people wanted to see the Team Trek that won at the first Spectacular against ETC. And just that's not the Team Trek we got. I don't know if we will ever get that Team Trek again. I really hope so, because I really, really like that Team Trek. And when they are on the top of their game, playing together for a while, they are great. Like I said, they were 1 challenge away from beating the Patriots in the Patriots' first title defense. So Trek is definitely a team that is good, but we just didn't see them on their best game. As for World's Finest, I thought they were really good. I didn't think they had a great showing. I think they have a lot of potential, though. They're 2-0 now with a TKO, and they have a lot of potential. I'd like to see them go up against, a slightly higher ranked team. Like Team Trek now is 500 for their record. I'd like to see them go up against somebody that has a strong winning record. Maybe a Top That, or maybe a MODOK or something like that, to see really how well they'd fare against some top ranked competitors.
I think the Shire Wolves. Put them up against the Shire Wolves.
Yeah, that'd be a great match too. Yeah.
I think the thing that I have with Team Trek is that, while I enjoyed the match, I have never heard someone more serious about wanting to be done with the Schmodown than Scott Mance. Whenever Scott Mance says he's done with the Schmodown, I fully believe him. And whenever he says he's enjoying it, I fully don't. I seriously don't think the guy enjoys doing it or wants to do it. So he's never seemed to be a particularly passionate person about it. He seems to enjoy it when he's winning and not when he's losing, which is just one of those things. I don't think that Scott Mance is particularly in it anymore, which is why I think it was baffling to me when people were talking about Mance and Inman being the other members of the Four Horsemen, because it's just like I don't think Mance wants to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think Mance would ever drop back in a manager position, or
I don't
just
think
just
so.
out of it?
No,
I don't think so.
I really think he is a great player, but you have to give. Yeah, he has to be competing consistently. Like,
And he has to be motivated.
Yeah, he's a very on and off player as far as.
he's so busy. He's got real full-on Hollywood
busy.
jobs.
But if you take just pure knowledge base out of every person who's ever competed in the Showdown, Scott Mance is in the top 5. As far as pure knowledge base, he has the knowledge, but I don't know how attuned he is to playing the game. People get inside his head really easily. That's why he needs somebody like Jason Inman to ground him. But people also get inside Jason Inman's head pretty easily. So I think Scott Mance, as far as the trivia is concerned, he's amazing, but I'm not sure how great he is at playing the game, which is kind of where the Schmodown is starting to shift a little bit more towards than it has in the past, is a little bit more towards playing the game and a little bit more towards the personality. While Scott Mance is definitely an entertaining personality, I don't think he's got a great character in the Schmodown, and I think, Luca kind of hit it on the head. He doesn't really seem to want to do it anymore.
Yeah, I can see that. And one of the stats that was brought up that's very intriguing is that since they lost to the Patriots, they only won one of their last 5 matches.
Yeah,
I didn't even think it was one. I thought they were like, oh
no, the
beat,
only one they had a Cinnamon Blood.
They beat
Cinnamon Blood.
Yeah, Cinnamon Blood.
In the first round.
Blood. Yeah.
Some things in the chat here. Paul Yama, World's Finest, they're getting very lucky with their questions. He said there were also 4 mistakes with the questions. I know the Hillary Swank thing.
Hillary Swank.
They could have challenged that, by the way. That's the reason the challenge rule is around. If Scott Mance could have challenged that and gotten 2 points for it.
Sure, but I think that I do think that the Schmodown team should address that question, because that question and the way it was phrased and the response that was accepted does have a very specific social implication. I just think that a mention would not go amiss from me, who is a trans person. I would quite like them to bring it up. I don't think that the question was actively transphobic or anything. I think that the response on Facebook has been to some extent.
I would agree.
But I would like someone to mention that the question was phrased and thought of in a way that didn't consider certain people, and just that they will try and not do that. From a scoring perspective, of course, the question wasn't challenged. If it was challenged, they probably would have awarded the point. I have more of an issue from a you are not thinking about this kind of way.
Yeah, for sure.
The other two were the Ghostface victim, the first Ghostface victim, and the Rush Hour song. I can't remember what the fourth one that Paul is referring to.
The fourth one is, I believe he's mentioning the Gilbert Grape. They said the wrong year. Yeah. And they mentioned
they meant 94.
There was also one for the 5-point question that they only mentioned 2 of the accepted answers where they also should have accepted Pacino for Dick Tracy.
Yeah, I was actually watching somebody else from the Showdown community talk about that recently, and that one, it's not technically based off of a comic book. It's based off of a newspaper serial or something like that. So the challenge could have been made. That wasn't one of the accepted answers, but if somebody said that and challenged it, they probably would have won that challenge. But Dick Tracy isn't
Dick Tracy is a comic strip.
Yeah, it's a comic strip. It's not technically a comic book novel kind of a thing. So I understand why it wasn't one of the accepted answers.
Yeah, I want to get Haven's thoughts on this as well, because Haven's a comic book manager, and I believe you've been a manager for quite some time. Would Dick Tracy be considered a comic book?
That one movie that they did. I mean, it's always been a comic strip, but I guess to classify it as a movie genre, I guess they will have to put it in comic book movies.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they've had actual comics like probably in the 50s or 60s. You know,
they were released in collection in omnibuses.
Yeah.
Paul is making the comment that Dick Tracy questions have been asked in the Schmoedown before. I know that that's the case.
Fair. Yeah.
I cannot. None of them specifically come to mind, but I'm pretty sure that's true.
Yeah. I mean, like with that logic, like thinking about it now, like you could ask a Garfield question in comic book movies, and that would be a legit thing because they have released them in like in the big collections.
Sure.
Yeah, you just gotta draw the line. The line has to be drawn at some point. So.
I think because like it's by that logic, you can also include like anime movies based on manga, all of that kind of stuff, and it's like, oof, where do you stop?
Yeah, at some point you just got to give Chris Kalicki a break.
Like fairy tale books are graphic novels, so is Cinderella a comic book movie then because of that? It's like you can go to whatever stupid end.
Yeah. So technically, I think Al Pacino should have been accepted, but I understand why it wasn't one that like they had listed in front of them that they read out loud.
And it wasn't even a thing that was brought up. I think it was the fans that brought it up first.
Yeah, it was the Facebook page.
Okay, so that is it for the shorter aspect of it. I will now ask anybody in the audience if they have any questions. Obviously, with the Game of Access match coming up soon, you want to ask. I have a question for the panelists, and then I'll go to any questions that are there. I noticed with Luca, I noticed you have a tattoo there. So the question for the panelists: what tattoos do you have? And if you don't have any, or if you're looking to add, what are you going to add? I'll start out with myself. So I got a bass clef right here. I got this a couple days after Sue and I got married. I have a portal tattoo. My brother has the other one on this arm here, and then I have a.
Give me a second.
Okay. I also have one that I'm not going to show on camera because it does involve me removing my pants in some way. I have a Mario mushroom.
Are you serious? I just removed my pants.
Oh shit! Okay.
Don't worry, it's fine.
Okay. So I have
do it the other way.
Yeah, I have a Mario mushroom on my calf, but I'm looking to add to that a fire flower and a feather to do like the earth, wind, and fire.
Oh, nice.
Kind of deal. So that'd be kind of cool. And then I'm also looking to get I'm going to be getting a X and a V on this finger here because Sue and I were originally going to get we're gonna get wedding tattoos just because of my line of work. It is very easy to lose my ring, and I have lost it before. It got to the bottom of a sink, and that was a very stressful, very interesting find. So Luca, I'll go to you first. Tattoos you got, and if you want to add.
Okay, so I got this is a whale, and it's got like a kind of a pink sunsetty sky in the background, and there's like fluffy clouds down here.
You're moving too fast. You got to hold on so we can see it.
So, 1 second, I'll give
it a second.
Right, so it's kind of cartoon, traditional style.
Cool.
Good detail.
I got these two guys. Got a little scarab beetle down here.
Nice.
And then like a rose. I got this here, which I'll move in if you guys can see it. If anyone can tell me in the chat what this is, I'll be very impressed. And then my pièce de résistance, the biggest thing I have at the moment, is this guy.
Cool.
Oh, wow.
Is that a koala?
Yeah,
it's a stag. It's a stag, and its antlers are turning into a little tree, and it's got like birds up here.
Cool.
And then there's like
getting your shin tattooed must be a bastard pain-wise.
It was 8 hours in the chair. And after it felt like I'd like banged my shin on a coffee table for about 2 weeks.
Shit. I know Sue's first tattoo was on her foot, but and then it actually gets worse. Her next one was on her collarbone. If you ever see a profile picture of her, she has one of like a breast cancer ribbon and a lily, and she said this was like the worst pain she's ever had in her life.
They go like over her collar because like this is like just under my collarbone.
It was like essentially right here. If you ever see a picture of her, it's on this side. It's on this side of her body. It's a breast cancer ribbon and a purple lily.
I've got an appointment for one on the 21st, which I'm getting on like the back of my forearm, which is going to be the guy from the poster of Scanners, who's having his like face melted off and his eyes are like going white with a Misfits lyric on either side.
Nice.
The opening lyrics to Hybrid Moments, if you're going to scream with me, as the Scanners dude is like psychicking himself out of existence.
Yeah. Robert, do you have any tattoos or anything you want to
add? No, I have a lot of plans for them. I do not have any yet. I'm getting my first one this summer, actually. But I have lots of plans. Most of them are super geeky and just mean a lot to me. Like I want to get the outline of a TIE fighter from Star Wars. I want to get the symbol that Gandalf leaves on Bilbo's door in the first Hobbit movie, which is actually a dwarven letter. It's a dwarven symbol for like adventure and courage and things like that. The key from The Hobbit is super intricate, but I want to get that because that lines up like when you first see that in the movie. The quote is loyalty, honor, and a willing heart. I can ask no more than that, which is just a quote that I really like. So I have a lot of plans, but none in fruition yet.
Okay. Yeah, Haven, your thoughts. Or Haven, your tattoos.
All right.
Whoa.
I got on my arm, I got some stars that I got. A couple of stars there. I had April tattooed here. It's kind of faded now because that was the month I was born. It was the first tattoo I had when I was like 17. I didn't know what to get, so I put that. I do have this on my arm, which says, well, it's an abbreviation, HNIC. I'm not gonna say what it means on live YouTube, but it stands for head in charge. So that's there. That's the HNIC. My latest tattoo is the 3 birds I got from the Divergent series. I don't know. I thought they looked cool, so I was like, let me tattoo those up there. I do have a cross with a heart, but it's faded, and I got Scorpion from Mortal Kombat on this side holding the Puerto Rican flag because I am Puerto Rican.
Nice. All right. So I see 3 questions here, and then the 3 that I have there, I'm gonna call it off after that, just because I want to give people time to take a break, a little bit rest before we get into our big Game of Faxes match. So the first question comes from Paul Oyama, and his question is, what is the song that is most misused in a movie?
Oh, I want to go first.
Okay, Robert.
Okay. It is definitely "Bring Me to Life" by Evan Sense in Daredevil. Because that's genuinely a really good song that is absolutely wasted in the Elektra training montage in that movie. So, like, that's a song I really enjoy. But it's just a terrible movie and a terrible scene. So that's my pick.
Yeah, I would say one that is overused a lot would be any version of Hallelujah.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say that one that's just like, oh, let's give this a like Catholic religious feel. All right, let's throw in Hallelujah. The biggest misuse that comes to mind is Shrek. Whenever they're getting ready for the wedding, it just doesn't really make sense.
The wedding with Farquaad.
Yeah.
I Need a Hero.
No. In the first one where
the Hallelujah chorus, or not the Hallelujah chorus, like actually.
It's the Rufus Wainwright cover of the Leonard Cohen song.
Yeah. Any Luca, Haven, anything you want to add?
The first thing that instantly springs to mind is the "Without Me" from Suicide Squad, and also every single use of licensed music in Suicide Squad. Because that movie, all of the music in that movie is misused because it's being used in Suicide Squad.
They blew their music budget for that movie in the first 10 minutes.
I think it's that war song. I forget what the hell it's called now. It starts. I don't know. Every 70s or 60s movies plays that song to show like, hey, we are in the 60s. Forrest Gump did it.
You're talking about War Pigs by Black Sabbath?
I think how does the riff go in the beginning? Helicopter scene. Every time there's like a timepiece movie, if it takes place like in the 60s, that's one of the go-to songs.
Oh, are you thinking? Are you Fortunate Son by CCR?
It's that thing. But it's I'm not doing it justice. I can't even. But I was listening to it when I was watching Forrest Gump the other day.
Oh wait, no, you're talking about "Gimme Shelter" by the Rolling Stones.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
How's that going?
It's just
shelter.
It's just a shadow.
It's just a shadow.
that one.
Yeah, that song is in a lot of movies where it's like, Jesus, okay, we get it. Your movie takes place in the '60s, but there's way more songs from the '60s that came out. You know?
Yeah. Caleb, the question the question that I asked previously was there. Do you have any tattoos, or is there anything that you want to add? And then the question at hand right now is favorite, or not that one. That's the next one. Is the what song is misused most in a movie?
I do have a tattoo. I want more. I've got a big one on my back. That's a heart with four angels. Yeah, it's big and in color. In terms of songs that are overused, dude, it's on my back. I'd have to take my shirt off to show it.
I took my shirt off.
You and I are very different people.
Use your own discretion to remind you that we are live.
Songs that are overused or misused. Pretty much anything by AC/DC. Let's go with Back in Black. It's like used on everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Like literally every freaking not literally, because there's but it's everywhere. It's people use that song so much, and it's always like the hype up scene, and it's like, oh really, Back in Black again? Like all right.
Yeah.
Paul all saw Iron Man.
Yeah. Paul has a fun fact. Scorsese has used "Gimme Shelter" in 5 of his movies.
Well, Scorsese also did a Rolling Stones concert film documentary. He's fucking obsessed with the Stones.
Also, he also did the last show, the last waltz.
Last waltz, the band
of the band. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the band is a great band. I love
good band. By the way, Nico, in response to why I flex my arms like this, I've got really, really terrible back pain. My back is like really stiff, and I just I need to consistently keep moving and flexing my arms and my shoulders and my back and shit like that. Because I've got a myalgic condition which just gives me chronic pain. So I just need to keep moving as much as I can. Otherwise, it's going to cramp up like fuck. So that's why you see me moving my arms so much in videos.
I thought you were about to throw hands.
Oh, yeah. I'm literally just fighting. There's someone behind the camera who I'm just getting fucking ready to fight.
All right. So the next question we have, once again, actually, I'm going to go to Nico's question first, and then we'll go to Paul's. But this Nico question is directed towards Luca. So Nico's question is, Luca, using all of your wrestling knowledge, please explain to the panel and the audience why John Cena cannot be seen.
I'm going to assume it's because he's very, very, very small, or maybe a chameleon, or possibly some kind of octopus, because octopuses are really good at changing the skin and their skin color and skin texture to fit in with their surroundings. And I imagine being an octopus would also make you very good at wrestling on account of having multiple arms. I'm going to go with he's an octopus.
Robert, would you care to give the answer? I feel like this is a question in your wheelhouse.
Why John Cena can't be seen?
Yeah.
I don't know if there is an answer that can be
explained. I know he does. I know in real life. I know he does this thing.
Yeah, that's literally it. He just does that motion over his face.
The thing is, he's you can't see me, and it's yes, I can. I can see your hand. Your hand is you.
I can see you doing that stupid gesture.
But yeah, the funny answer is that he's an octopus.
All right.
Actually, do you know about John Cena because he's in the classic film The Marine, the greatest war movie of all time?
Yeah. Okay, there's actually 2 questions here. We'll do them right quick because one of them is pretty straightforward. So the question is from Paul once again, and his question is, "What is your favorite movie line to perform? I guess, or how do you word this? Yeah. What's your favorite movie line to do an impression of? And I'll do mine right quick because it's my favorite quote ever. Surely you can't be serious. I am being serious.
And
don't call me Shirley. Anybody want to chime in on that?
I like, woo, wait, you good looking. You're hot.
Favorite movie quote?
In Face Off.
Yeah, Face Off. I have a favorite.
Movie quote?
Hold up.
Oh, go ahead, Robert.
No. You go first because I'm gonna mute my mic so I can get into character here.
Oh, okay. Well, one of the quotes I always use a lot is from the Cable Guy, where he goes, "Oh, Billy." I don't know. I love saying that shit when he's visiting. When he's visiting Matthew Broderick in prison, you know, he's like, "Oh, Billy." But my favorite quote has to be from Braveheart, you know, where he just screams out freedom, you know, simple. Freedom!
America fucking love Braveheart. I will never understand this.
Freedom. Those are soft. Those are just so comfortable. I do my Gollum anytime I can.
Nice.
But that's Gollum. Any Gollum line is my favorite. We swear to serve the master of the precious. We swear on the precious.
That's not bad.
Pretty decent.
No, okay, that's actually a funny story. Me and one of my friends from high school, before prom, junior year, we went out to eat, and we literally talked the entire time in Gollum impressions for the entire dinner at this super fancy restaurant.
Of course you did.
Yeah. Caleb, your favorite line?
To impersonate, that's tough. I quote lines all the time. So impersonate, that's a different question. I don't do impersonations very well. I don't know. I think probably the one I use the most is "You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts."
Yeah.
Just because, you know, that's not so much an impression as just yelling those words.
Go on.
And then in terms of like just like things that I like to quote every day, like literally the entire movie of SLC Punk, I could quote like literally, like from the beginning to end. I can probably do it.
Yeah, Haven.
You've asked Haven, dude.
Oh, I did have Haven. Okay.
I mean,
no.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Oh, Billy.
Oh yeah, shit. Paul was mentioning is that my daughter? I'm there, and then he's saying, "Ask Luca." I did it while watching the free for all yesterday.
He did indeed.
Yeah. So the quick question is just a name and go. Woodburn is wondering who he should face next in IG. Whoa. A wild Nicole appeared. What's going on here?
Oh, NWO member, the Queen.
What's
Hi.
I was not aware of these shenanigans. Haven, what are you pulling here? This is crazy.
Hey, every other Rewind panel always had multiple people from their factions. Tonight it was supposed to be NWO, and I gotta throw the Queen in so she could just represent the NWO real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going on here? Like do you guys think you need to do this to get an edge in Game of Factions? Like
they need any help they can
There's
get.
no edge.
They need every help they can get.
This is for viewership because when the Queen comes on, everybody runs to the screen when they see the Queen.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants to call me out and stuff, and it's just really funny that they talk so much shit on us, and we're the most called out people in the whole group. So I can't wait to see every single one of them lose tonight and just bow down to the whole group.
Free wins.
Guys.
For free wins.
Hold on a second. Our stream watchers are going down. They've crashed.
Whatever.
We're gonna have some serious problems.
Hey,
Woodburn, to answer your question real quick, Grant should be our next opponent.
The winner of Grant versus Ryan, I think, is.
Yeah, but yeah, this end. I mean, yeah. Why? Like, what? I want to get an NWO's head here because this is supposed to be an NW themed week. Why do you guys feel that
we should be organizing cooperation? But
hey,
you're giving a platform to.
It's the time for the Queen to speak. Shut your mouth.
Sure.
Go ahead, Nicole.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
No, it's just really funny to me, and I can't wait to see like everybody get beat tonight. I'm super pumped to watch it. I'm having everybody watch too because I have faith in my faction, and I think that I just can't wait to see all of you lose and shut your mouths. Finally, just shut up. That's what I'm so excited for.
Wait, did you say you were going to be watching? You're not good enough to make the cut?
Ooh.
I actually was asked to make the cut. Actually, I was asked first, but
Oh no, you were asked, right?
Oh.
You couldn't make it
but
due to
was
unforeseen
decided-
circumstances.
well,
Yeah, you had
no,
scheduling conflicts. I see.
Scheduling conflict.
it was
Robert,
not
your
a
comment in the chat, very funny, very funny.
It was not a scheduling conflict, actually, but we do have some members that wanted to play a little bit more. So, you know, I let them have the beat down for once. I've beat enough of you. So, I mean, I'll go one-on-one with any of you.
I look forward to meeting them. I like the NWO's confidence that somebody that they've never, ever seen play before who is completely untested is actually a more reliable pick than you are, Nicole.
Right. And the NWO, see, we don't, you know, we got players.
But see, that's
that
the
wanna
problem
play.
with
We're
you
gonna let them
guys
play.
and your like smart comments and stuff. Like you try to like piss people off, and it just like it doesn't work. Like you guys just are not that good.
Except for the
Fine.
record,
Except
that
for-
totally are.
Crucially,
The
except
shit that you
for
wanna talk,
at trivia.
That is fine. Keep running your mouth. It's completely fine. But when you get completely wiped off of the board, then I don't have anything else that I need to talk to you about.
This is glorious.
We'll see what happens tonight.
Yeah, we will.
I cannot
Count
wait
that
to
as
Speaking of
shut your
tonight,
mouth.
Brooklyn, when does the game of factions start?
The game of factions match starts at 11 p.m. Eastern, which is about 72 minutes, I believe, on my watch. So before we do our plugs, I want to go to each member because we have a very diverse panel today, which is awesome. So I want to go first to the NWO, and the question I'm going to ask for every panelist is, why is your faction going to win today? And Haven, I will start with you first.
I just think that well, we have strong competitors. We all figured out which person is going to play for that round, and a lot of these people don't know who we're bringing in. You know, we probably got 5 new players coming in, debuting in this match, and they're going to win, and they're going to win their rounds because we trust our players. We're not going to dick ride somebody because they got to win somewhere else before. You know, we got new players, and they're going to show their stuff tonight. We're not relying on the same old trash that people are getting tired of. This is the NWO, and we are for life.
All right, I will go to Luca next.
Unlike the NWO, we do judge people on how good they are at trivia for whether they should play trivia or not. So that's, I think, an advantage straight out of the box. We're going to win because we've got the best players. We've got extremely well-rounded players that we could be putting in any variation of a loadout to face anyone and still go up head-to-head against them and take them the fuck down. And you don't even know everyone who we have. And this is not a situation where you don't know who we have because we've done a Haven and dragged someone off the fucking corner of the street. We have known quantities in the online trivia league who have proven themselves to an incredibly high standard that you don't even fucking know yet. So we got the talent, we got the intelligence, we got the attitude, we got the determination, and we got the surprise shock value. And we're going to win because there's no one else who's as good. It's as simple as that. We're going to win because we're the best at the game.
Yeah. Robert, as the representing member of the Alpha Alliance, why will you guys win tonight?
You know, I think we're gonna win tonight because we have the best loadout as far as who is playing in what league. In each of the 5 divisions, we have current champions, past champions, or future champions playing in all of the 5 divisions. And I believe that the well-roundedness and the depth of our layout is why we're gonna win.
Yeah. I will speak on behalf of Atomic Nation as the only member. I am trying to keep as very bipartisan as I can, but to kind of speak on their behalf, why I feel why they can win is because you have numbers. Numbers.
They figured out how to smush 3 brains into one body, and they still have no members.
But you also have the experience and that vast knowledge in people like Jeremy Adams and Sandy Robinson and people like Jessica Morgan.
So Jeremy Adams and Sandy Robinson, they're two of the people who are going to be involved.
Full Metal Trivia season 1 winner, Jessica Morgan. You also have Nico Suaviragoli, the passion of about 10 guys that just packed into one person.
Nico as the cheerleader, got it.
But yeah, I am confident in that that my faction of Atomic Nation will at least put their best foot forward, and I feel like that's what every faction is going to do.
Put their best foot forward directly into a big hole.
All right, and Caleb, as I know, as part of the 2-man band, the Men with No Name, I know you guys were kind of looking to get into this, but unfortunately, it's only the two of you. What are your thoughts on all the trash talking and whatnot?
Oh, I love it, dude. Like I said in the chat earlier, I please continue killing each other. We'll be here to pick up gold when you're all dead. We're like, I don't know. I like, we're not a faction of talking trash. We're just here. We're relatively new and we're behind the scenes. I mean, specifically, we're called the Men with No Names because people like underestimate us all the time, and like we don't get brought up in the conversation for most of the time. So, I mean, we're not sweating this at all. Obviously, we're a small faction right now, but we're making moves. We're doing things behind the scenes. And,
you're not a faction. You're a tag team. Jesus, everybody wants to be a faction.
All right, whatever.
Yeah. All right. So we are coming up to just under the 2-hour mark. So I want to thank our panel today. This is a very fun time. Very, very elaborate. We got to talk on a lot of different subjects, which was nice. So I'm going to let everyone do their plugs, and then we'll wrap this up here. We'll start, of course, with the Alpha Alliance, the guy going up against Chance for the IG title, Robert Parker. Where can the Jackoffs or the Jack and Jills of the world find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at RBRTPRKR98. That's my first and last name, no vowels plus a year. You can find me winning one of the matches tonight. It might be a mystery of which one, LOL. But I will be winning something tonight, hopefully, fingers crossed. And you can find me on all of the other trivia spheres of the world, and hopefully, well, not hopefully, and you can see me challenging my Alpha Alliance co-member, Chance Ellison, for the Inner Geekdom title in under 2 weeks.
Yeah. Secondly, the queen of the NWO, she's not competing today. Nicole Morris, where can the Jackoffs or the Jack and Jills of the world find you?
On Facebook, on the Jack Trivia page. Twitter, it's Nicole_Morris with 2 E's and 2 S's, or Instagram, anywhere else, it's Nicole_Allison with 2 N's. And that's about it. Yeah. And I just can't wait to see the NWO wipe the floor with all of you guys tonight. So I'm very excited for this, and I hope everybody is, and I can't wait to see what happens, but I have a lot of faith in the NWO when it comes to this, so I'm excited.
Yeah. Representing the Apocalypse, they are the Butcher, Luca, Hope, Madden. Where can the Jackoffs or the Jack and Jills of the world find you?
What date is the Jukebox final?
April 23rd.
Okay. You can find me here on Jackable Trivia, taking on Chance Ellison. It's a very popular thing to do. For the Jukebox title on April 23rd. You can find me competing in the Faction Wars this evening. I will be playing
Game of Factions. Get it right.
In Game of Faction Wars. And you can find me kicking ass in whatever division I might be going up again. What could it be?
I wonder which one.
You can find me at some point taking on Jess Morgan in Inner Geekdom. You can find me at some point potentially taking on Rob Parker in movies if Haven decides to do that. You can find me on Full Metal Trivia and World Play Movie Games and Movie Battleground, and there will be trivia. And besides that, could people stop sending me plans for monuments to build in my honor? It's getting really strange. I realize that you want to erect things to me, but besides dick jokes, there's not much that I can do with that. I realize that I'm an icon and a god, and one might want to
okay.
bring themselves around me and pray to me. But like I don't have the funding or the space today.
Time is up now. No one cares. You're not a god.
You're getting played off.
The leader of the NWO, the big booty daddy, the villain, Haven Pendergast. Where can the jack-offs or the Jack and Jills of the world find you?
Oh, well, they can always find me on Facebook at Haven Pendergast. You'll see a Superman emblem. That's me. And, of course, you can find me on Jack of All Trivia on Facebook and on YouTube. And you can find the best faction in any league ever, the NWO, playing tonight. I personally won't be able to be there, but all my NWO members are going to be there playing.
Wait, Nicole and Haven? You're both not playing.
No, we say you don't know what's going to go on with the NWO.
The only thing I know that's going to happen with the NWO is they're not going to win a match tonight.
We're winning all the fucking matches, sucker. I don't. To be Brooklyn, what was your faction that you were with again? Because I thought
Atomic Nation.
He thinks Atomic Nation and Alpha Alliance are the same thing.
I mean, you might as well be. You're both trash.
Sometimes they confuse me. Okay. Yeah, man, that's where you can find me, guys. Thank you for having me here. For everybody watching at home, if you have children, I'm sorry I cussed, but I'm always here. Jack of All Trivia. We love it here. We're playing here. Join us, and you'll be in a match too. You had a lot of fun watching this shit. So come here, baby. We'll hold you tight. We'll be gentle.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Caleb Mashed Potatoes, where can the Jack-offs or the Jack and Jills of the world find you?
You can find me on Facebook at Caleb H or on Twitter at the Caleb Hansen, but I never do anything but retweet Jack of All Trivia. So just follow Jack of All Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, all that crap that Brooklyn's going to tell you to do later anyways. And you can find me not being in Faction Wars, just writing questions and hosting like I always do.
And last but definitely not least, I am the host of Black Lantern Brooklyn Vail. Thanks for joining us today for Weekend Rewind number 12. This is pretty crazy. I mention this every show, that this is a show that was a last minute thing that was just kind of impromptu, but now it is a weekly thing. It is consistent. It is awesome. We've had Schmodown competitors on here linked to the Party Taylor Robinson. Really close on getting somebody. I'm hoping to work some magic, maybe give them a bunch of Canadian Tire money, or if I can send Tim's down their way that they come here. But please, guys, in an hour time, we have Game of Faction match coming up, which is very, very exciting. So please share the mother-loving Jesus out of that post that I put up on the Facebook page. My goal at the very minimum, I want to get 50 people live watching this tonight. This is going to be crazy. This is going to be very fun. It's anybody could win this. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Follow us on Facebook, and if you want to get on a match, like Haven said, let us know, and we'll get you in there as soon as we can. So to wrap things up, that is Caleb Mashed Potatoes. That is the big booty daddy, Haven Pendergast. They are Luca Hopewell and Madden the Butcher. She is the queen, Nicole. That is the Hobbit, Robert Parker. And I am the Black Lantern Brooklyn Vail. Thanks for joining us, guys. And as always, drive safely.